From the lowest to the highest, from the furthest to the nearest, from the smallest of the smallest to the greatest of the greatest, yoga is about all of life, everything we do, all of existence. My name's James Bogue. Welcome to the Whole Life Yoga Podcast.
Today, I'm going to speak about books that changed my life. And today, the book I'm going to talk about is Il Barone Rampante, The Baron in the Trees, by Italo Calvino, an extraordinarily wonderful Italian writer who I encountered when I was a student, when I was 19 years old. So in brief, the story of The Baron in the Trees, the Baron is young Cosimo de Rondo, and he is the heir to the to be the baroncy, whatever it is, of this particular place in Italy. And the story begins, Cosimo and his younger brother, they are rebelling against the cruel authority of their parents. In what sense? Their parents want to feed them snails. And Cosimo and his brother have discovered how cruel the way the snails are prepared and kept and then cooked is. And when they see this horror, they try to set the snails free. And for this crime, their father imprisons them. He shuts them up in a room in the house. Only after a couple of days does he let them out. And can you guess what is served at the first meal when they are let out of their confinement? Yes, it is snails. The younger brother, he doesn't have the same spirit as Cosimo. But Cosimo, he refuses to eat the snails. His father chastises him and says, "No way." And Cosimo goes out to the garden and he climbs a tree and says he will not come down because he will not participate in this tyranny. And Cosimo stays up in the trees for the rest of his extraordinary life. And so the story of the Baron in the Trees is the story of Cosimo's life, recounted by his brother, who heard it from Cosimo himself, from other people, sometimes from his direct experience, and it is a wonderful, flavorful story. But why is this one of my all-time top 10 favorite books? Many reasons. The story itself is beautiful, full of flavor, full of color. And this is one of the reasons why I find this text so beautiful and so potent for me. I encountered this text, I'm 19, I've just been studying Italian about a year and a half. So I read the text in Italian, it was kind of a struggle. So I also read the English translation, which was then available. But something really interesting happened. What I noticed, what I experienced, my favorite episodes in the English translation were not the same as my favorite episodes in the Italian original, because they had this different flavor. And this really was my first, or one of my first experiences of the real power of what's known in Sanskṛt as rasa. So in the aesthetic theory, in the theory of arts and performing arts, aesthetics, poetry, in the Sanskrit tradition, there's this beautiful concept of rasa. Now rasa means juice, flavor, sap, essence. And there is the idea that good art, it conjures up a flavor. And these flavors, they correspond to states of being, states of experience that are always potential within us as human beings. And the rasa, the flavor that great art can evoke and invoke, it can actually invite us into an experience of yoga. So also in the theory of performing arts, there is this idea of how do we want to approach a work of art? How do we want to engage with it? And the idea is we want to be a sahridaya. Now a sahridaya, sa means with, hridaya means heart. We want to do it heartfully. So it's the idea, if I go to the theatre and I'm an auditor, a spectator, a member of the audience, but I'm a sahridaya member, I'm really engaging with the content, with the performance. If the performers are also sahridaya, if, for example, the performer's playing a role and that character, their hair stands on end, If the performer is fully Sahridaya, their hair will stand on end. They will start trembling, they will start sweating, whatever it is, they'll be so into that role. And when they are Sahridaya, when they invoke this experience, what happens to the audience members? We get more drawn in. And so we can meet in this space of a heightened engagement, of deeper presence, which is like yoga. This is how any yoga technique works. We give all the lenses and powers of our awareness an object to focus upon and gather around. And as we invite our awareness to move in that direction, then can emerge this integrated state of heightened presence and deeper awareness. And in that state, we can taste more of the riches, the depth, the beauty of who we really are. But this aesthetic experience is also something that a great book, a great story can also invite. And this is one of the reasons why storytelling is so intrinsic to the yoga tradition, to all spiritual traditions. This is the foundation of human culture. We gather in a circle around a fire, we listen to each other, we share stories, we share song, we dance, we share food. And when we share these stories, they can invite us into a flavor of experience. So there's this extraordinary thing that can happen with good literature, with good stories. They can invite us to experience and learn a little bit more quickly than if we had to go through it all ourselves. Because if we listen and engage Sahridaya, if we put ourselves into the feet, shoes, sandals of the characters in that story, we can also learn some of the lessons that they learn without necessarily having to go through all of the pain and trials that they go through. If we can be Sahridaya, if we can open ourselves to learn from the experience of others. And this is one thing that yoga stories invite us to do, to recognize that we have the capacity to learn through all our experiences. So, Il Barone Rampante, I give it the 5-star, 10 out of 10 recommendation. Italo Calvino, an amazing writer. But to this day, I've now read Il Barone Rampante, I don't know how many times in Italian, how many times in translation. Several times. It's 30 years ago that I first discovered the text. But it's still my favorite because of the flavor. Sometimes people have the perception, this yoga, it's kind of a bit boring, no? Just being quiet and getting all still and focused. No. That stillness, that focus allows a deeper richness to be savored. And the idea is, in this rasa theory, when we allow ourselves to fully experience the flavors of life, this gives way, or can give way, to the experience of shanta, peacefulness. So the basic idea is, these rasas, there are 8 of them that correspond to 8 sthayi bhavas. These are these always standing, always present types of experience within the human being. So we have eros, romance, the attraction of opposites and polarity. We have humor and laughter. We have sorrow and compassion. We have indignation, anger. We have utsaha, this vigor, this drive, this determination. We have disgust, we have fear, and we have wonder. Now, when we hear this list, eros, attraction, romance, humor, laughter, the comedy, tragedy, loss, compassion, sadness, grief, anger, indignation, rage, drive, determination. Are you hearing anything that is not part of your experience as a human? If we feel indignation, we feel that heroic drive to do something, if we go on a heroic journey, we might find things we find disgusting or fearful, and we will also see things that fill us with wonder. So what do we notice about these 8 things? These are all part and parcel of the human experience. But the idea is, if we allow ourselves to really savor them, taste them, experience them fully, then there is no space for regret. And then we stop creating the past in the sense of the past as a burden that we carry with us, something that's pulling us back. Instead, we have these rich experiences behind us that support us to be more fully in this unfolding moment. So can we live sahridaya, heartfully, wholeheartedly? This is what Cosimo does in The Baron in the Trees. He lives his life, his extraordinary life, full on. And so in that sense, he's also a beautiful teacher. Can I live my own life full on? Whatever is here, can I taste it? Can I experience it? Can I be open to it? And yoga suggests that if I live like that, I will actually fathom the fullness of who I really am. So, I recommend the book, and I also recommend studying other books, other texts that invite us into this attitude, this orientation to life, so we can drink deeper of its gifts and fathom more the depth of who we are. So if this type of exploration calls to you, if you like exploring stories and literature, you might want to join me on my online courses and membership, where we can explore texts like the Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga Sutra, Indic mythology, and also sometimes stories from other traditions, plays, dramas from other traditions, other art forms that give us a lens on the time-proven, timeless teachings of yoga.